All right, all right, all right. Here we are. It is From the Margins with James Auffant and David Washington. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, Jimmy. How are you?
I am doing fine.
Excellent, excellent. It's good to be back in front of the camera again, in front of the microphone. And it was a very spirited conversation last time, and the first two episodes have gone out. So I'm very excited, and I can't wait to get the analytics on those. And today we have a really good show. So we'll be talking about Amendment 3 and Amendment 4 on the Florida ballot this November. The first one's regarding recreational marijuana, and then this Amendment 4 is about the abortion access. And then we'll be talking about the the U.S. Senate race here in Florida between Rick Scott and former Representative Senator Rick Scott and former Representative Marcel. I can't. I'm just gonna say former Representative Debbie for now. Marcel Powell, Representative Marcel Powell. I'll figure it out. So, Jimmy, let's just jump right into it. Amendment 3. And I'm going to read the summary of Amendment 3. And in essence, it says adult personal use of marijuana. It allows adults 21 years or older to possess, purchase, or use marijuana products and marijuana accessories for non-medicinal personal or non-medical personal consumption by smoking, ingestion, or otherwise. Allows the medical marijuana treatment centers and other state licensed entities to acquire, cultivate, process, manufacture, sell, and distribute such products and accessories. Applies to Florida law, does not change or immunize violations of federal law, establishes possession limits for personal use, allows consistent legislation, defines terms, and provides an effective date. That is the summary of the adult personal use of marijuana amendment. This one is number 3 on our ballot. What say you, Jimmy?
Okay, follow the money.
Yeah.
Two things about this amendment that nobody really has thought about, but my mind knowing how these things work. First of all, most of the money that DeSantis got came from marijuana. I don't know if most people even know that.
Oh, wow.
Yes, from the dispensaries.
Okay.
And if you notice, it's not allowing you and me to buy a little plant, keep our plant, and use it and smoke it. No. I cannot do that. That's against the law. I have to go to the dispensary and buy it there. So the dispensary are behind Amendment 3 because they're going to make money. So the real thing is, yeah, you can buy it. You're not going to be criminalized. You're not going to be arrested. And if you want to smoke it, go for it, no problem. You don't have to be sick to do it. But you have to buy it through a dispensary. There is where the caveat is, and that's why I say follow the money. Because it's still going to be a crime. And this is where it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
You have a little plant of oregano, and you cook and you take it down. You have a plant of mint. You take it and you eat, put it in your drinks. You have a plant of rosemary and so on. You use it to cook. No problem.
Correct.
You have a plant of marijuana because you want to smoke it. You're committing a crime. So it's just that you can do it recreational as long as you buy from the dispensary, and you better have with you, when the cop stops you, the information of what dispensary you got that pot from. Because if not, it is a crime. So be careful, beware holders that you think that, oh, well, now I could go and buy myself a little plant in my house and cultivate it and cut it up and do my own stuff and do it the one I like. No.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is a good way of putting that. I at one point, and if you were to ask me if I was in support of this particular amendment, maybe 20 years ago, I would say sure. However, understanding the economics of this, Jimmy, as you just laid out for us, there's going to be a very select few um, organizations or businesses and individuals who are going to benefit from this windfall of, recreational marijuana being legalized. And for those individuals who have been arrested in the past for possession of marijuana, I don't know what's going to happen with them, but that's on their records. And also, would those individuals or anyone who has benefited from the sale of marijuana illegally, would they benefit from this law? Would they have the opportunity to create their own dispensary? Would the money that the taxation on this from this new law benefit those communities who have been impacted by um, marijuana arrests? There's a whole lot going on here. However, it's always, like you said, follow the money, the economics of this particular amendment that I'm concerned about, and the smell.
I am, but I think it's time that we do it now. The rich and the powerful are going to be able to go to the dispensary and buy whatever they want. The poor are going to still look for the local dealer who could sell them what's called a nickel bag, which is $5, which probably you get one joint for it for that $5, and you're going to be able to smoke it. The good thing about this is that we all know that marijuana is not addictive, contrary to public belief. It is something that a lot of people emotionally depend on, but physically, it's just like smoking a cigarette. You get that, but you don't have the thing that is addictive to it. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting how law enforcement deals with this.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I like to throw in there. The difference between if Worrell was the state attorney or Bang was the state attorney, and somebody here is caught with a bag of weed and cannot prove that he bought it from a dispensary, how people are going to react to that.
That's an unknown that I don't think it was addressed in the recent League of Women Voters. I'm pretty sure it was not addressed in the League of Women Voters forum that was held yesterday on the 11th of September. Of course, there was a lot of discussion about the state's attorney, the current state's attorney Bain, and the shenanigans behind the Republican nominee dropping out of the race. But that's a different story for another day. Uh, do you think that has this legislation or has there been discussion, Jimmy, about the money, the taxation on marijuana? Where would these funds go? To the general fund, or would this go to specific programs to address substance abuse?
No, they won't go to substance abuse at all. They're going to go to the dispensaries. There's already a table of how much taxes they pay. Okay, it's known, and it goes to the general fund. So there is nothing in this law that indicates to me that there's going to be a special funding for this money. It's just going to go like it's been up till today. It's going to go in general funds. It's going to be wasted on projects that our legislature feels fit to waste it on.
Great. Wow. Okay. Now, one of the concerns that I've read about in regards to the legislation and the legalization of this is that the marijuana from maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago is so much different now than it was in the past. It's a lot stronger, a lot more potent. Um, this has been a concern because if there's stronger potency, would that affect public behavior? Would that affect the behavior of the user of today's marijuana? That I know I would have a concern if someone is using recreational marijuana and it's a stronger potency, and it rises to a level of public intoxication.
Well, marijuana always is like alcohol. Some people have a tolerance for it, some people don't. I've known people that have a cup of wine and they become very social. My wife always said that she knew when I was drunk when I shut up. Uh, if I'm always talking, so if I shut up, it's because I was in a corner. I was drunk. Uh, that is a fact. Tolerance for alcohol and for marijuana is the same thing. There's some people who have high tolerance. There's people who don't. So it's really going to be the tolerance factor in how we're going to deal with that. So, in my opinion, it's just going to be an individual thing. Some people, and it's like everything else. Maybe the first, if you haven't smoked it for 10 years and you're going to go in with a higher potency, yeah, that might be a problem. But at the same time, half of the pot is going to be in gummies, and gummies there they tend to relax. Most people are using right now marijuana for anxiety, and that's kind of
Yeah,
interesting because they're using it as a relaxer. The other
correct.
people are using it for painkilling, which people don't think of it as having that effect. Getting high, if you walk into a dispensary today and say, "I want marijuana to get high," they're going to tell you they don't sell it,
Right.
and basically because today is for medical purposes. It's not just recreation. Now, once it became recreational, how are the dispensaries going to deal with that? That's a good question. It's an
Good
excellent
point.
question.
Very good point. Um, Anything else that you want to say in regards to this amendment? Do you think it has a good chance of passing with 60% of the popular vote?
Oh yeah, this one is going to pass. The one that I think is in jeopardy is number four. This one.
Okay, good segue. Let's talk about Amendment number four, and I will read the summary of Amendment four. It is titled Amendment to Limit Government Interference with Abortion. And in essence, in summary, it says no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's health care provider. This amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or guardian before a minor has an abortion. That is the amendment to limit government interference with abortion, amendment number four. So, Jimmy, your thoughts?
Well, we have a good campaign paid by those who are against this on
Mhm.
TV. Let's stop pretending that we don't. We do. It's an excellent campaign. It's well financed, and Ford has no campaign on TV whatsoever. It's counting on that women are going to go out and vote for it and say, yes, this is something that I want to do, and I want to do it now. And I all for it because I believe in my freedom. They're making an issue that parents have to be contacted, but the parent doesn't have to consent, which is a technicality, but that's what they're using. And this is going to be something that I think is going to be emotional. The churches are campaigning against us day and night. Let's stop
Correct.
pretending that. The churches are campaigning, and not only the white churches, the African American churches, and the Hispanic churches, because
Correct.
all three of them are against us. We stop we stop thinking that they're not. They are. So we're going to find out how much influence does the churches have in Florida. To me, very little, because church participation is declining. It's not
Correct.
only operating, but it is 60%. That's where my concern comes with the 60%.
The 60%, as with all amendments, ballot initiatives, is a high standard. It's a very high standard. And we have to be cognizant of. So we were talking about the 60% threshold. We were having technical difficulties. So that's going to be quite the heavy lift for supporters of Amendment 4, Jimmy. I know that there's a lot of pushback, of course. This is a hot topic, a hot button issue. I know one of the arguments against Amendment 4 is the piece about the viability. What is viability? And some some of us have different definitions of viability. So that's part of the pushback. We do have here in Florida a 6 week ban. The Florida Supreme Court has ruled that the 15-week ban was um, was legal, was appropriate, thus kicking in the 6 week ban. Um, Jimmy, this it, just like across the nation in other states that have abortion on the ballot, uh, Democrats, liberals are hoping that this will get people to come out to vote, particularly women who are their base, but this will drive people to the polls. I don't think so. I looking at the primary election on August 20th here in Florida with 17% turnout here in the three-county area, um, and 25% for the state as a whole. I just don't think there is the enthusiasm to reach that 60% threshold.
My problem is not the only the enthusiasm. My problem is that I don't. There was a great campaign. Money was spent to raise the signatures. Okay, now they're being attacked in court, and I don't think it's going to fly at all. And I don't think the court things are going to fly. What I do think is going to be a problem all the way through is going to be the fact that there is no campaign whatsoever, and I mean this, no campaigns whatsoever to promote it. I mean, I see us on TV. I see the newspapers reporting that it's going to be a challenging court, which might discourage a lot of people going. But there is no campaign saying, "Hey, this is it's a woman's right," anything at all. I don't know of any leader, including our state party chair, that is really out there doing anything about it. I don't see the Orange County Democratic Party say, "Hey, let's do something to help out with this issue." No, I don't see the state party doing anything to help out with this issue. And basically, uh, they have been outraised and money wise. So at this point, it's going to be kind of interesting if people are going to do like they've done many times, that they ignore their government, they ignore all the advertisement, and they ignore all the things that money can buy and say, no, I'm for this. So I think they stand a good chance. My only concern is the threshold of 60%. That is my concern.
Right. Um, there is a lot of activity from the governor's office in trying to prevent this from passing. A lot of activity, meaning from his elections police division in the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE. They are knocking on people's doors. Those individuals who signed a petition to put this initiative on the ballot. And some see it as a form of intimidation. Others have called on investigations. The governor's office is saying, hey, we are just making sure that the people who sign these petitions are the people they say they who they are to be, that is authentic. And people are now concerned that they will receive a knock at their door from the elections police with 10 pages of documentation verifying their signature on the petition, despite the fact that supervisors of election across the state went through the process of validating each ballot signature or a portion thereof. And people are concerned, especially as in just a couple of weeks, September 21st, I believe, ballots, vote by mail ballots, are legally allowed to go out to residents. The overseas ballots, I believe, are going out, if not this weekend, but very soon. So there's, if there's going to be any type of, I believe the overseas ballots are going out on the 21st. So I'm correcting myself here, and the domestic voters will receive their ballots, vote by mail ballots, starting uh, Thursday, September 26th. So Saturday, September 21st, ballots are going out for overseas voters. Domestically, September 26th. So, whatever is going to happen, and elections are won, and vote by mail and early voting, whatever's going to happen, for those who support the yes on for campaign, they better do it now. That persuasion, engagement campaign better kick it into gear right now.
And I agree. And I'm going to say something that also is interesting. How many amendments are there for the Constitution right now?
There are six.
Of the six, how many they're trying to verify their signatures?
Only one.
Bingo! That's what needs to be challenged in the courts. No, you are selectively challenging the one that you disagree with, and you're using your power, and you're abusing your power. And that's partly, this is what I want to go with today's program and say, this is time that we stop this. Okay, let's campaign. I would start a campaign right now saying, hey, people, Ron DeSantis is using money against what we want. He is illegally challenging only one. He's not challenging the pot. He's not challenging the other two that he likes. He's challenging those people who signed for. This is selective, and he is doing something that is immoral, and he should be prosecuted, and he is an idiot. Just do that. And I'm sorry. If there's one thing I picked up from Trump, is that sometimes you have to hit at the stomach, and sometimes you have to hit below the belt. And you want to play games? Let's call you out. Let's start the campaign on TV. Let's put photos of DeSantis with his stupid face there and say, this is the enemy, and make the issue about him. And let me tell you something. He's like Trump. He will react to that. And
yes, he will.
He will not be happy about that. And, it's like when they said that they were taking people off Medicaid, and he said that was not true. And somebody said, yes, it is, Mr. Governor, you're ill-informed. He was pissed off that they told him that. So it's time.
No, go ahead, Jimmy.
It's time that we push back. This don't hurt me. I'm going to go again, like I said last week. When they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, we go lower and start calling them out. It's one thing that I observed of Tuesday's debate. She did much better when she went low, and her numbers went up higher when she went low. When she tried to do things otherwise, no. The way you take down a bully is by hurting them, and by facing them, and by putting your face in their face and yelling harder than them. And in this state, our bully's name is not Donald Trump. It is DeSantis, and we have to take him down and take him down hard.
And he's going to defend this particular issue to the very end, because it is one of the cornerstones to his policy. When he was running for president, he was very proud to say that he was hoping that the 6-week abortion ban, would kick in. He was very proud to say that the 15-week ban was in place. This is one of those issues that is being discussed at this moment on the national stage. So this is Ron DeSantis, a defining moment to his governorship, and it's going to take people being aware, people exercising their civic engagement to vote, and coming out and supporting this particular initiative. My concern with this initiative, which was addressed by the Florida Supreme Court when they ruled on the 15-week ban, was that the privacy of the individual does not apply in Florida. That means that things that happen with myself in the privacy of my home, in the privacy of my decision making, the state does have some say so. And that's a big worry that's not being discussed in this particular debate, although it is tied to the abortion issue.
It's not being discussed because it's just like with the marijuana, in order to get it and not be pushed back and getting the support of those who give orders to DeSantis, they said it will be the dispensaries. So they negotiated something there that they knew that the bosses of DeSantis say, "Hey, shut up, go along with this, don't do anything. This is going to put money in your campaign and money in our pocket." So he backed off, and it's kind of interesting. He's not talked about that. Not even when Donald Trump said that he was going to vote for it, which I found interesting. So, but the thing with the abortion is that they took the position: this is where we're going to go. This is where what we're going to do. But the contemplation of saying, let's bring in the privacy issue into this, the attorneys correctly advised them that a two-issue thing might be turned down by the Supreme Court because amendments are supposed to be a one-issue thing, so they left it at that. And second, there is a constitutional proviso in the Constitution about privacy, and it's only really been used for the LGBT community. It has never really been used for abortion. And the reason it's never been used is, let's be honest, until about 6 or 7 months ago, we had abortion in Florida that didn't really go into the privacy of people. You comply with the requirements, you would go to your doctor had your abortion, you would go home. No big deal. It's that they changed the law. So that's why it was never used in the past, because it was really not a fight in court on abortion. But I think that the privacy that's in the Florida Constitution would apply to that. The issue here is getting out the vote. And I hate to agree with Carvel. At the end of the day, we could talk the talk, but if we don't get out the vote, we're doomed. And that's where I think the party needs to go out and get the vote. Because if they get the vote, we win. There's more Democrats in the state and independents than there are Republicans.
That's true.
And we just don't know how to campaign. We want to campaign the old-fashioned way. We want to send out mailers, which makes no sense. We do some mass emails, which do no sense. You have to make a combination of TV ads. You have to make a combination of mailers. You have to make a combination of door-to-door knocking. You have to have a combination of some yard signs.
Right.
But in a portion. But going one way only has never worked at all. Okay. And by the way, the people are supporting and financing Proposition 3 are the dispensaries. And they have a lot of money.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. This is the good segue into the United States Senator race here in Florida with incumbent Rick Scott and challenger former Representative Debbie oh boy, forgive me, Mukersel Powell. Debbie Mukersel-Powell. Forgive me for butchering her name, but she has been the Democrats' pick to run against Rick Scott. And I must say, I should know how to pronounce her name like I should know how to pronounce the vice president's first name, Kamala Harris. I don't see any evidence of a Mukersel Powell campaign here in Orlando.
Well, and this is something that I may or may not agree. I hear from her advisors that Orange County is going to vote Democrat,
Sure.
and that she shouldn't be spending that much money here. She should be spending money in Osceola. She should be spending some money in Seminole because there's a chance that she could win or really take away votes from Scott in Seminole. She's not going to be spending too much money in Lake because she doesn't think it could do that. The problem that where she should be spending money and effort is in the big county that we lost 2 years ago, which is Miami,
Yes.
which is where she's from, and where she's going to be campaigning the hardest. The truth of the matter is that we need to recover Miami. We need to make sure that we don't lose Broward. We need to make sure that we maintain strongly Palm County, Jacksonville, Tampa, also. Tallahassee is going to be one. Tallahassee is very Democrat, so I don't work in the two colleges there make it even more Democrat. So I'm not going to be concerned about that. But said that, I'm not sure who's running her campaign because from what I hear, it is her. And to be honest, she hasn't raised the money that Demings raised 2 years ago. She hasn't.
Wow.
Demings, we know, screwed up because she just decided to go TV. But she's not going TV. The thing that also I'm concerned about, oh my God, how do I say this in a very respectful way? Rick Scott made the first time in the news in this state because he stole $1 billion from the federal government by overcharging for Medicaid.
Correct.
That's how he made his first news article. He campaigned saying that his opposition was like a baby's diaper full of. That was his ad. That was his backbone. Then it was, let's get back to work and let's do this. This is the person who went on TV during the pandemic and admitted that he screwed up the unemployment website to make it more difficult so people will be discouraged and not apply. These are things that are true.
Yeah.
He could call her a socialist, and I hate to say this, I wouldn't even call her a liberal. I would call her a centrist, but not a liberal.
Sure.
But that's a lie. But saying that he stole money, that is true. That he screwed up the website for unemployment, that's true. And that his campaign and statements is like a baby's diaper full of, yes, do it. But this of, oh, no, we have to take the high road. That's why we lose. That's why, like Demi said, oh, let me talk about when I was chief of police. Not when I was in Congress. She did not once use the word Congresswoman Demings. It was Chief Demings because she was ashamed of her record in Congress. She thought that Rubio would throw it back in her face. Hey, Rubio, I got news for you. I could throw a lot of things in your face, too. So be careful of what you live. But once I see Debbie doing what she needs to do, which is bringing down Scott, yeah. Otherwise, if she's just going to go and try to do what she's done up to now with some TV ads that I am not extremely impressed with, yeah. So, Debbie, if you're hearing, which I know you probably are, with somebody of your campaign, get off your butt, go out and create some commercials, and yes, hit Scott below the waist. He screwed up unemployment in the state. He screwed up the funding in the state. He really got famed because of stealing money, which he was able to keep over $500 million for his own personal use. And also, he is the person that basically have a campaign which is filled like a baby's diaper full of you know what. And that was his campaign. So if he can use it, why can't we? He did that to McConnell. Most people don't realize McConnell was the front runner. And he called him a liberal. And I'll call McConnell a lot of things, but not a liberal.
Right.
He took out of the race Tico Perez. He took out of the race Marco Manchena. Look, and basically he really did not even support DeSantis in the state.
That's true.
So you can do whatever you want with him. But look, It's time that we stop this. Oh, I don't. I want to take the high road. Oh, I'm going to go the right way. Look, I learned something from Kamala that I admire. She had no problem criticizing Trump. She had no problem calling him a liar. She had no problem saying that he was a womanizer. All that stuff should be starting to be said in a campaign. Why? Because Republicans do it to us and we just sit there. No, no, we shouldn't do that. No, we should do the same and even worse because these people are bad. And the world needs to know that they're bad.
I know that I talked to an operative in South Florida who is allegedly close to Debbie's campaign, and they did express some concern about the effectiveness of the campaign and what it would take to bring it home for Debbie. I, I don't know. This particular election cycle is an odd one to me, and I'm very concerned. I've never seen or felt anything different, anything like this before. Maybe it's just Florida, but the enthusiasm is you see it from the local parties and in certain circles. However, you don't. I don't feel it in Florida, if that makes sense. And I hope the best for uh, Mercosal Powell's campaign. However, I'm not holding my breath for a win from a political um, consultant's perspective.
From my outside observer, neither am I. And what is sad is that realistically, these people have done the basics. They've just finished winning a primary and they started their campaign kind of late because in Florida we have early voting in about 2 weeks. Once we know that between vote by mail and early voting, that's going to be the majority. Election day
That's right.
is going to be a joke. So if you don't get it out now, you might not get it out at all. Uh, you know, it is what it is, but it does not in any way do a service to the community about it, just going by the traditional thing. Look, her advisors are telling, hey, Debbie, nobody really knows you here. You might want to talk about yourself and not about Scott. You might want to introduce yourself to the community. So I know you, I hate to say this, you don't have that much time, Debbie, to do that.
Yeah,
But
it's
you should be saying, look, I am this, I stand for this, and that man stands for putting money in his pocket, for taking money out of your pocket, for putting rich and powerful in power, and from stealing from the general funds, and from taking away your money that you pay for unemployment. You know, this because it's always fascinated me how we try to be nice, decent, run a classy campaign.
yeah.
People who run classy campaigns don't get elected. And I can say that for myself because when I was advised, do this, I would say, no, no, that's not classy. That is really incorrect. I don't want to go low. Well, yeah, I was wrong. I admit it. How does that sound?
You know something? It's refreshing to hear that because in my experience with candidates, it's hard for them to accept the fact that their campaign went south and they did not win, and it's easier to just focus the fault with the campaign team, the manager, whoever, the consultants. And you made a very good point, Jimmy. It's and I see this cycle after cycle after cycle, the same approach to these elections. the same strategies, and there's no innovation. There's no will to innovate, and there seems to be a fear to try tested methods to win, tested winning strategies. It boggles my mind. And again, I talked to a number of campaigns on either side of the political aisle, and the overarching theme is that, well, I've seen it done before. This particular consultant is known to do this, this, and that. And so, despite their losing record, I'm still going to go with this and this and that. And I'm just like, wow, okay, all right, you do that. You do that, and expecting a different result
Yeah,
is insanity.
it is insanity, and it is also false. Okay, it is false.
Mhm.
It is when people tell me, "Oh, Mr. Auffant, you, why do we need to reinvent the wheel? Because the wheel is not running. The wheel is not real." You know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same act, expecting a different result, and that is my problem. Did this work for you the last time? No. Did this work for such and such? No. Look, we have 2 years ago a Demings campaign, and it didn't work. We know it didn't work. But we're going to repeat it. We're going to do the same. Look, this is the biggest problem I have with the party. You want a U.S. candidate for Senate that nobody knows, and you say, in 60 days, get yourself ready to win this campaign, and don't count up with too much of us. Look, I'll give you an example. We are 2 years away for the governor's race,
That's correct.
for the attorney general's race. You and I are into politics. Have you heard any name other than Nikki to running for governor?
No other name, Jimmy, none. And you're right. I have kept one eye on this current cycle and the other eye on 2026. I've gotten calls and have had meetings with people who are preparing for 2026 locally. And on the state level, I don't see any type of leadership, significant, effective, inspiring, motivating leadership to take on the Republican establishment. I just don't see it. And this is going back to our discussion when we put together the 20 factors that would lead to a Democratic majority in Tallahassee. There, I don't see the training, mentoring, educating, or education of the next round of Democratic leaders who can win statewide. I just don't see it.
I don't. And basically, and they're not trained. They fall on your lap. They really
Mhm.
fall on your lap.
Yeah.
Did the party recruit any of the 5 candidates for U.S. Senate? No, they didn't. Did they
No.
help them? No, they didn't. Did they give them any training? No, they didn't. Are they helping Debbie now? No, they're not.
No.
Do they intend to? No, they're not.
And they're choosing. Oh, go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
If she comes to Orlando, the local party would take photos with her and say nice things to her and maybe give her a couple of bucks and go their way. Look,
Yeah.
that's not the way you run a campaign. Right now, Nikki's going to be without a job after January.
Correct.
They're not going to reelect her. Let's stop pretending. They're not going to. They're going to blame her for all the faults, that everything that went wrong is going to be her fault. So she could be
Sure.
without a job.
The buck stops with her.
So for the next 2 years, she can campaign. Director of Finances, we don't have anybody. Attorney General, we don't have anybody. We have people going? Look, it's very simple. I'm going to make this simple for everybody. Go to all the 67 DNCs statewide if you're going to run statewide. Go in there and say, hey, I'm going to be running for this. How can you guys help me? What do I need to do? What's important here? What should I be doing? And help me raise money. And if you go to raise money for 2 years, saying I'm going to run for a position, yeah, there might be some crazy people who run against you. That's true. You
Sure.
might end up in a primary. That's true. But if you have 35 million, the other person has $10,000, you don't have to spend that much to
Right.
be realistic. You could hire a team and say, "Hey, get me through the primaries," and still keep going out there and raising money and going doing your thing without a problem. But the party does not do that. Fall on my lap. There's three positions open. Okay. One
Yeah.
is the governor. Two is the finance
Attorney
director. And three is the attorney general. We There's nobody that we are recruiting. I could tell you what I would do right now, and it might sound crazy to a lot of people. But I have somebody that I know if you approach him and hit his ego, he would finance his own campaign for attorney general.
Wow.
And he has enough publicity, enough name recognition to be the attorney general.
But it's just a matter of the pitch to this individual
Yeah.
to make it worth their while.
And you have no idea who I'm talking about.
I had some names kind of ran through my mind, but you know something, I'm probably wrong. I was thinking, of course, the Newlands and the Morgans, and but that's too easy,
Newland is a MAGA.
right?
So,
He was a Democratic supporter at one point, a donor.
yeah, but no. Who else did you have?
I said John Morgan, of course, but then he's gone NPA.
Oh, John Morgan will run as a Democrat if the party approaches him right and says that are willing to back him. John is angry because he thinks that we're too liberal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, you're going to be the attorney general. You set the centrist agenda in that office. We don't care. We really don't care. His
Right.
ego is such that you ask him to do that, he'll finance it. And he doesn't have to finance too much because everybody in the state knows who he is. They might
That's
not
right.
always like him, but they know who Joe Morgan is.
Yeah. They
And
do.
yes, we approach him. Now, finance director is going to be a little bit different because that has to be somebody who's more into finances. And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who would do it. Governor is going to be Nikki. And,
Oh Jesus.
well, she couldn't do any worse than what the previous candidate did. Give me a break.
Sure. Chris.
Yeah. Johnny Chris was a joke. A former Republican, new convert, and who the progressives can't stand. Okay. So, yeah, she could do it. She has run a state campaign and she has won a state campaign, which is more than I
That's
can say
true. That's true.
for other people. And she would have all the contacts as past chairman, and she can raise the money. Uh, and since we don't know who the Republicans are going to be running, it's going to be interesting.
Getz, Donalds, Petronas, even the first lady, DeSantis's wife, has her name has been mentioned. The Republicans have a great deal of names to choose from, even Ashley Moody.
Crazy, 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 crazy. I would love to run the campaign against Guest, person who's been investigated for having sex with minors. Hey, it was true. Okay, person who was found also involved with a greenbelt who stole money from his constituents. So, somebody who is responsible for being even the Republicans, former Republicans, would not back him. So,
Right.
who they're going to run is going to be an interesting thing. Okay, so let's see what happens. But yeah, be prepared to campaign hard against them
Yeah.
and to bring them down.
Without a doubt, Jimmy. And on that note, it's dinner time for us. Um, what what's your thoughts on our conversation for next week? Any topics in particular?
Yes, I would like to, if possible, let's discuss the phenomena of the division in this country over the issue of migration. The issue that people will say that Haitians are eating dogs and cats, which I thought that was that was not a Haitian thing, but also it has. And maybe it's time to discuss a little politics about Orange County, what the
Okay.
DNC should be doing in these last days of the campaign, and what they should be spending their money, and how they
Okay.
should be helping out school board member and the two county commissioners.
All right. I think we got ourselves a good agenda for next week. I'm looking forward to it.
And hopefully by next week my camera is working.
All right. All right. All right. I like getting together again and having this conversation about Amendment 3, the recreational marijuana amendment, number 4, the abortion amendment, and then, of course, the conversation regarding the matchup between Senator Rick Scott and Representative Debbie Murkisel Powell. So I want to thank our audience again for tuning in and listening and watching. I really appreciate it. Your likes, your shares, more importantly, your comments are really important to us. And let us know, especially in the comments, that you appreciate what we're doing. And if you agree with us or don't agree with us, I'd love to hear about it. Jimmy and I would love to hear about it. And we will respond accordingly. So, again, this is From the Margins. That was Jimmy Auffant. I'm David Washington. We are your hosts, and we will see you the next time.